We got to fix the Yoda. This is my very, very, very long-suffering 2007 Toyota Rav4. She's got, I think, 265,000 miles. It owes us nothing, but it's getting pretty rough. I found a big chunk of the rear coil spring laying in the driveway the other day. But that's not the big problem. The big problem is it cranks and 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 cranks, but it will not start. And the problem is getting worse as the temperature outside gets warmer. So that's kind of a clue. I suppose anybody with a heart would just let this thing die, but I'm not ready to buy one of these new disposable iPods with wheels, so we're going to fix it. Plus, it's an important lesson in trickle-down economics. And if you're not familiar with that concept, basically instead of taking my money and buying a new vehicle, I take my money and I give it to my wife, and then she buys a new vehicle, and this fully depreciated vehicle trickles down to me. It's a beautiful system. Just don't think about it too much. Oh, 266,000 miles. So that's what it does. And actually the problem is staring us right in the face. We don't even need a fancy scan tool to see it. And it's not the multitude of colorful flashing lights here. Those are just there to add some flair to the cluster. The problem is here with the coolant temperature. So it says it's 53 degrees outside, and this engine is stone cold, but it's telling us that it thinks it's around 180, maybe 200 degrees. And actually you can hear the cooling fans running. Yeah, why can I not say coolant temperature sensor? Anyway, a bad sensor for your coolant can make your engine not run, or at least not start. And actually in this case, if we can get it started and warmed up, it'll run fine, which I know because that's what I've been doing for the last couple days. But it can be really tricky to diagnose this because a lot of times they don't set a code. And you know, in this case, there's really nothing wrong that the computer could see because the temperature gauge is still working. It's just the set point is wrong. And even worse than that, a lot of times the gauge that you see on the cluster does not reflect the real temperature of the engine. It's some mapped, predetermined value that the computer just feeds to you, and it does not reflect reality. We've seen that before. We've also seen bad coolant temperature sensor issues cause engines not to run or to run like crap. Remember the silver Ford Ranger that I had? It had that was a really devious one. It had a coolant temperature sensor that was new, but they pressed the pins in wrong, and it was making an intermittent connection, and it would look good on a meter, but it would not give the correct value to the computer. So it can be really tricky, but I'm pretty sure that's the problem with this car. Just to be sure, I will demonstrate the emergency starting procedure. So if we pop off this hose back here for the evap purge valve, then we take our favorite flammable liquid and we give her a healthy squirt. That should be plenty. And then put our hose back on. Like so. Yes, car, I know, I left the keys in it. Oh, she tried to go. There you go. That's how you do it. We should probably fix that. Well, let's shut her down. Will it restart? Yes. Okay. Yeah, bad coolant temperature. Man, I still cannot say that. A bad coolant temperature sensor on a fuel-injected engine is the same as a bad choke on a carbureted engine. When the engine's cold, it needs more fuel to run because the cylinders are cold, the combustion is not very efficient, and then as they warm up, you can get leaner and leaner and leaner until you reach, your ideal temperature and your ideal air fuel mixture. And if you don't have that extra shot of fuel, you can never get them started. So that's what the brake cleaner does. It gives it that little extra shot of fuel to get started, and then once it's running, it'll keep going. All right, the coolant should be mostly drained. I think the sensor is right here. It's usually in the neighborhood of the thermostat. It's in a fun little spot there. Let's see. There we go. It's got a copper sealing washer. We'll transfer that over. Kind of a sloppy fit, I guess. Okay. That's it. Pretty easy job. Little trick if you want to reuse your coolant. I buy these paint filters from the local auto parts place. Stick them right inside the funnel. That'll catch all the dead bugs and big chunks that might have ended up in your drain pan. Of course, vacuum filling is the best way to do it, but we don't have time for that today. The story has taken a slight turn. I was going to change the oil, maybe do some other work on the bottom side, and I started hearing some disturbing sounds. Do you see how that rocker isn't really straight? I don't think there really even is a rocker anymore. That thing is completely rotted out. There's even a big hole up there. And then the driver's side, it's even worse. So I think we better set this thing down before Isaac Newton sets it down for us. I think that's too good. Well, let's just take a quick peek here. Pretty solid on the outside. Oh, yeah. That's not so good on the inside. Well, phooey. I think that's all she wrote. Time to go iPod shopping. I guess we are done. Yeehaw. Well, here's the takeaway. We made the right call on the coolant temperature sensor, and it starts and runs. But maybe next time we'll check the vehicle for a massive structural failure before we start. Like I said, she doesn't owe me anything, but it's time. I mean, I joke around about these rusty cars, and this is not the most rusty vehicle on the road by a long stretch, but it's a safety issue. The rocker panels are a major component of your side impact structure. And you can see the car seat back there. My son rides with me, so we're gonna put an end to that for sure. And then, yeah, I guess we're going shopping. Well, thanks for watching. Sorry it didn't have a happy ending.